Your broken promises to yourself are not temporary slips. They are a rigorous daily training program in total self-sabotage. You deeply want the quiet, unshakable confidence of a person who executes their plans completely and handles heavy daily burdens without ever flinching or stepping back. The silent trap is that your continuous pattern of making and breaking small personal commitments is slowly destroying your internal foundation from the inside out. You easily tell yourself that skipping a morning workout or avoiding a difficult phone call is merely a matter of needing physical rest. But you are slowly teaching your brain that your spoken words hold absolutely zero weight in the physical world. The direct consequence of building this damaging habit is that your internal armor starts cracking apart, leaving you feeling entirely unprepared and highly anxious when a major life crisis eventually demands your full and undivided attention. Picture a highly busy corporate consultant who wakes up on a dark Monday morning at 6 o'clock and immediately reaches his heavy hand over to silence the loud alarm clock, instead of placing his feet on the cold floor as he originally planned the night before. He groans heavily and pulls the thick winter blankets completely over his head to grab exactly 20 more minutes of precious sleep, actively convincing himself that he simply needs the extra physical rest to function properly during his upcoming morning meetings. The immediate and visible result of this poor morning choice is a deeply rushed routine where he completely skips eating his warm breakfast, spills hot dark coffee on his clean white shirt, and arrives at the busy downtown office feeling totally defeated before the week has even really begun. By the time Wednesday afternoon rolls around, the very same tired consultant sits hunched at his wooden desk, staring blankly at a highly complex project draft that he firmly promised himself he would finish reading before his lunch break. He suddenly feels a massive wave of mental fatigue wash over his mind, and decides to open a brand new internet window to read the sports news instead of typing out the difficult paragraphs he knows are absolutely necessary for his career progression. The direct and painful consequence of this tiny moment of delay is a steadily mounting sense of dread that completely ruins his entire afternoon and forces him to carry the heavy, unfinished work back to his house, intruding terribly on his quiet personal evening time and stealing his total peace of mind. When late Friday afternoon finally arrives, he feels utterly exhausted from the stressful week and decides to take a very cheap shortcut on an important financial report, just to quickly get the thick stack of white papers off his desk before the relaxing weekend officially starts. He quietly tells himself that absolutely nobody in the entire company will ever notice the missing data details or the unusually sloppy document formatting, completely ignoring the massive fact that his personal name is permanently attached to the front page of the final document. The ultimate test of this careless behavior is incredibly simple, because if his strict manager were to closely review that specific document alongside his excellent previous work, the sudden severe drop in overall quality would trigger immediate and uncomfortable questions about his current level of workplace dedication and true professional value. He foolishly thinks these events are just isolated moments of natural human exhaustion until he decides to run a very hard personal audit by sitting down at his kitchen table with a completely blank sheet of paper to write out every single commitment he made and broke over the last 7 days. He slowly lists the deliberately missed morning alarms, the constantly delayed project drafts, the entirely skipped evening workouts, and the poorly finished financial reports, watching the bright white page fill up with dark black ink until the ugly truth becomes entirely impossible to ignore or safely deny. The single piece of paper boldly reveals a truly staggering total count of quiet daily votes for personal unreliability, clearly proving that if he were a normal paid employee answering directly to himself, he would be forced by management to fire himself immediately for terrible overall performance. The foundational principle governing this entire frustrating situation is absolutely clear and cannot ever be successfully negotiated. What you willingly tolerate in your daily life is exactly what you eventually become over a long enough timeline of repeated actions. When you quietly accept half-hearted efforts and constant annoying delays from your own mind, you are actively building a future life where boring mediocrity quickly becomes your completely normal baseline for every single activity you attempt to do. You can easily verify this harsh reality by simply walking around your house and looking closely at the current state of your physical health, your personal bank account, or your professional career. Because those specific areas always reflect the true daily standards you actually enforce upon yourself when absolutely nobody else is watching you. One very common internal factor driving this damaging pattern is the strong natural tendency to prioritize immediate emotional relief over your vital long-term goals, seeking the warm comfort of task avoidance the very second a project becomes slightly difficult or frustrating to manage. You quickly reach for your glowing phone or open a fresh browser tab the very second you feel a tiny hint of mental friction in your brain, desperately searching for a quick burst of easy pleasure to wash away the uncomfortable feeling of facing a real challenge. You can easily test this emotional response later today by simply placing your mobile phone in another room while you work quietly for one continuous hour, observing exactly how many times your empty hand instinctively reaches for a digital device that is no longer sitting there on the wooden desk. This constant avoidance of daily discomfort is a major clear pathway leading directly to broken promises, though other important factors like heavily unclear priorities, a total lack of specific skill, or completely overwhelming daily demands also play a very important role in your continuing daily struggle. You must understand that you are not fundamentally broken or permanently flawed as a human being. You are simply an entirely untrained person who urgently needs to learn how to operate smoothly under normal daily pressure without constantly looking around the room for an easy exit door. The exact way you will know you are finally making real progress is when the strong, familiar urge to escape a difficult task still arises in your chest, but you simply acknowledge the passing feeling and choose to keep your hands on the keyboard to continue working diligently anyway. You most likely have a heavily demanding daily work schedule, very important family obligations, and a deeply stressful traffic commute that totally drain your physical energy, meaning you absolutely cannot afford to adopt an impossible morning routine that requires 3 full hours of completely free time. Attempting to completely overhaul your entire busy life overnight usually leads directly to complete physical and mental exhaustion within a single week, leaving you feeling even more frustrated and deeply disconnected from the original important goals you originally set for yourself. The only true measure of a highly sustainable personal system is whether you can successfully execute the required steps on your absolute worst day of the month, when you are incredibly tired, your head hurts badly, and absolutely nothing in your daily life is going your way. To successfully interrupt this vicious cycle without completely burning out from your extremely heavy daily workload, the primary training move is to pick exactly one small micro-commitment a day and defend it fiercely as if your very life heavily depends on completing it. You might choose the simple action of leaving your busy office desk for exactly 10 minutes of brisk walking every single afternoon, putting on your comfortable shoes and stepping outside the glass doors, regardless of the rainy weather or your current grumpy mood. The incredibly powerful result of this simple daily physical practice is that you finally begin to build a highly tangible track record of personal success, clearly proving to your own brain that your spoken words actually translate directly into visible physical actions in the real physical world. Consistency matters deeply in this process, because each successfully kept promise slowly builds your internal sense of deep reliability and fundamentally reshapes how you naturally view your own personal character and your daily personal strength. Scientific research clearly shows that self-trust is much more effectively built through demonstrated daily follow-through than through empty positive self-talk alone, meaning you simply cannot think your way into magically feeling like a highly reliable person while sitting completely still on your soft living room couch. You can successfully verify this vital internal shift when you suddenly notice that making a brand new commitment no longer triggers a horrible feeling of quiet anxiety in your stomach, because you already know from recent daily experience that you will actually do exactly what you firmly said you would do. Your highly consistent daily behavior also deeply shapes how other people clearly perceive your personal trustworthiness, directly impacting the valuable new opportunities they are completely willing to offer you in both your growing professional career and your private personal life. Other people always assess your overall reliability primarily through your visible track record and your demonstrated physical competence over a long period of time, not through your hidden internal emotional state or your very best silent intentions. When you successfully build a highly solid pattern of kept daily promises, you will quickly see the clear evidence in the exact way senior colleagues happily hand you much larger responsibilities and confidently ask for your direct input on highly difficult business decisions without any hesitation or lingering doubt. If you stubbornly refuse to change this damaging pattern and simply continue breaking your small daily promises, the hidden cost escalates very rapidly until it finally begins to destroy your most valuable future opportunities and your most vital professional relationships. You will eventually miss a massive project deadline that truly matters to the entire corporate company, instantly losing the deep respect of a crucial paying client or a senior managing director who directly controls the very next major financial promotion in your busy department. This terrible chain reaction ultimately limits your future family income and completely drains your daily personal energy, leaving you permanently trapped in a highly frustrating lower position where you secretly know you are capable of much more, but absolutely nobody in the entire building actually believes you anymore. A true lifelong master always stays a humble student of their craft, fully recognizing that the very moment you arrogantly think you no longer need a strict daily tracking system is the exact moment you quickly start falling backward into highly comfortable daily failure. Regular quiet self-reflection and careful periodic tracking of your daily commitments can strongly help maintain your sharp mental awareness, keeping you completely focused and totally prepared, even when daily life suddenly becomes incredibly chaotic and completely unpredictable all around you. You can easily check your current operating status by slowly reviewing your written personal goals at the very end of every single month, honestly assessing whether your actual daily physical actions are still properly aligned with the specific type of person you loudly claim you truly want to become. The highly specific recording method you finally choose to use for this vital reflection, whether it is careful daily tracking in a small leather notebook, a very quiet weekly review on a peaceful Sunday morning, or fast situational check-ins during heavily stressful work projects, should always fit your real daily life and strongly support your specific future goals. Some dedicated people truly thrive with very rigid daily tracking systems that carefully map out every single waking hour of the day, while others constantly find that less frequent periodic reflection is much more highly sustainable for their entirely unique personal energy levels and their deeply demanding family schedules. The absolute only failing grade in this entire difficult process is completely abandoning your chosen tracking system the very moment you feel emotionally overwhelmed, instead of simply adjusting the strict rules to properly fit your newly changing physical reality. If you unfortunately miss a day of work and completely fail to keep your small daily promise, you must immediately practice treating yourself with the exact same simple fairness and calm logic that you would happily offer to a highly struggling office colleague. Important research on the topic of personal resilience clearly shows that showing simple kindness toward yourself during a hard moment of total failure, rather than using highly harsh self-judgment, is much more strongly associated with long-term mental strength and highly sustained daily personal motivation. You simply log the frustrating miss as entirely neutral passing data in your small notebook, calmly understand exactly what unexpected event happened to throw you off course, and quickly reset your solid plan for the very next morning without wasting any precious energy on feeling useless personal guilt or deep emotional shame. You must firmly stop comparing your heavily messy daily reality to someone else's totally polished and carefully edited highlight reel on the glowing internet, because you are only ever seeing the happy final product of their many years of very quiet, hidden struggles. You must quickly learn to use their highly visible public success as completely solid proof that steady daily discipline actually works in the real world, actively transforming their massive achievements into clean burning fuel for your own difficult journey, rather than a heavy metal weapon you constantly use to beat yourself down. You will absolutely know you have successfully mastered this powerful mindset when you can easily watch a highly successful person speak proudly about their wonderful work and feel a massive surge of calm motivation instead of a bitter, dark wave of deep personal envy. Your primary short guiding mantra for this entire difficult personal process is very simple to remember and incredibly vital to repeat. Every single physical action you take is a direct, heavy vote for the exact type of person you are slowly becoming. You must firmly stop scrolling through this glowing screen right now, completely close this digital application entirely, and immediately execute your one completely non-negotiable important task for the entire busy afternoon. Sit down calmly at your wooden desk and write down your one firm promise for today on a physical white piece of paper. Your deeply capable future self is quietly waiting for you to step up and finally do the difficult work. So follow this channel for more continuous training to assist you in properly building the disciplined life you truly want to live.